This is episode 117. Welcome to Wellness in Every Season, the podcast where we explore the rich tapestry of wellness in all of its forms. I'm your host, Autumn Carter, a certified life coach turned wellness coach, as well as a certified parenting coach dedicated to empowering others to rediscover their identity in their current season of life. My goal is to help you thrive both as an individual and as a parent. Welcome. Today I have with me Bianca Lizette. She is going to be talking to us about manifestation, and this is something that I've been diving into, so I'm really excited to explore this further. She is a manifestation coach. She specializes in helping people remove subconscious blocks and use custom manifestation techniques to create their dream life 5 times faster. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do and tell us about your journey to where you are? I'm sure there's a story, there usually is.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today. So, the way that I actually first got introduced to manifestation was at a certain point in my life. As soon as I was able to start working, I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So, I dove right in and I figured out the skills that I had and what I could create with that. I started a virtual executive assistant business. And I had no business training, no background, no idea what I was doing. But in the beginning, it was very successful. I was making money. I had my VAs, I had my clients, and then, like anything, it came to a crashing stop. I lost everything. I lost all of my employees, all of my clients, all of my revenue. I was literally back to like negative $50 in my account. And I moved back in with my aunt. I was staying in her guest room, and I was just at such a low point in my life, completely unmotivated and just out of steam. And my cousin came over and she's like, I really think you should watch the documentary called The Secret. I think maybe it'll put some oomph back in your step. And I was like, well, that sounds stupid, but I have nothing else to do. So why not? And I'm not sure if you're familiar with this documentary, but it is
I watched it
basically,
last week.
it's good. It had me hooked. After I watched it, I was like, I'm going to figure this out. If they're telling me that I can become a millionaire by changing my thoughts and changing my habits and patterns, like it sounds so easy. Like I have to figure it out. So I spent the next couple years really diving in. I actually got a coach. I went to seminars. I watched every other documentary, every YouTube video there was about the law of attraction and manifestation. And I got to a point where I had started another business, which was my coaching business, and became very successful very fast. And it helped me create this proven method that can help people understand who they are at a soul level and how they can create their version of success or wealth, or whether it's career success, how they can create that tailored to themselves.
That's amazing. So, I heard about the show because I am reading The Success Principles. He's actually interviewed in the show. It's really good. I still have a long ways to go,
He's good.
but he mentioned it several times, and I started diving into his world through podcasts, and he kept mentioning it. So, like, "Okay, I'm gonna find where it is and start watching it." And it's on YouTube with lots of commercials if you have the free YouTube. So, it's really good, really well done, very 90s. But the things that they're talking about are not time bound.
Oh,
They
yeah, it's stuff like that. I mean, even, going back, Neville Goddard, like, what is that? Maybe like the 60s, all of his teachings are still very accurate today. And if things that you can apply today, that still makes sense.
you went from you had a VA business, then you hit rock bottom, and you started learning about The Secret, and then you started applying it. How do you now help coach other people with the law of attraction and manifestation, and what is the difference between the 2?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that I coach people is that manifestation is not a one size fits all. When I was going through this process, I was like, this is BS because nothing's working. And the reason nothing was working is because I was not finding the methods and the style and the approach that was built around my brain chemistry, who I am as a person, who I am at a soul level. So it was a lot of trial and error, and that was something that I was seeing with a lot of other people. So I focus on creating this more personalized, tailored approach that's not only built around your brain chemistry, your psychology, and your personality, but also your energy, right? Because energy is a real thing. So I have a process to analyze that and see what way works best for you. What is the best learning way that resonates with your energy and your brain chemistry? And to go back, the difference between the law of attraction and manifestation, I want to say it's somewhat the same, but with the law of attraction, it is a law of the universe. It's somewhat a part of manifestation, but it's more what you attract. Like attracts like. So, whatever you're resonating with, whatever level you're vibrating at, that's what you're going to get, whether that's in your health, your career, in your relationship, attracting a soulmate. It's going to be someone who's on that vibrational level, is the best way I can explain it. With manifestation, you're on more of the creation side. You're manifesting, you're creating, you are trying to create something you've never had before or something you have had. It's that process of climbing up the hill and making something happen.
That makes sense. So, do you want to try any of that on me? Make it real world, or do you want to continue with through the
um,
outline? I will
no,
edit this part out, no worries.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I could. It depends. The process is a little lengthy because I have what I do is like a fifty step questionnaire to kind of go through your history. What are you trying to create? What hasn't worked for you? It's a lengthy process, but I can kind of go over like my 3-step formula.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see what she does, like the
Yeah.
little, Ben& and Jerry's here, or,
Right.
Baskin Robbins, whatever.
Okay. So the 3-step formula that I use that gives it that personalized touch is really the first step is understanding your brain chemistry and your psychology. So I actually in the process of going through this, I ended up speaking with a lot of neuroscientists because I was not a believer. I really wanted to see the proof in the pudding. And speaking with them, I've come to realize that a lot of them, they didn't want to call it manifestation, right? But they absolutely believed in there's a certain way to trick the subconscious mind into being able to create whatever your goal is, aka manifestation. So after speaking with them, I was able to find out what questions need to be asked in order to understand what is in your subconscious mind, right? Because the subconscious mind is what affects 90% of your reality, no matter what it is. When it comes to your health, relationships, money, you're only able to create what your subconscious mind believes is possible. So I ask you these specific psychological questions to really get inside your mind and see what your traumas are, what your history is, what you believe is possible, what have you gone through, what has worked for you, what hasn't worked for you, all of the above. And then once we figure all that out, I create a program that's going to take you like another 2 weeks to go through to just pretty much reprogram the subconscious mind in terms of changing your thoughts to align more with what you're currently trying to create. So, for example, if you're having thoughts of money doesn't grow on trees, the rich get richer and the poor get poor, right? But ultimately, you want to be a millionaire. Those thoughts are what's going to be holding you back, whether you know it or not. So, we have to get in there and reprogram those thoughts, replace them with different, more empowering thoughts that will stick and come up when times are getting hard. So, I do that by incorporating EFT, pattern interrupters, recorded hypnosis, etc. Again, depending on what you need personally. So once we get through that first phase of reprogram the subconscious mind, then the next 4 weeks is where we do custom manifestations. So my job is to come in here and see what methods can I create that are going to work for you and get you excited to do manifesting, so that way it doesn't feel like a chore and it really resonates deeply at your core. So we spend the next 4 weeks doing that. After you complete that cycle at the end, that's where the practical things come in, right? Because manifestation, although it is 80% of the work, right? Because there's that 80-20 rule. The 20% absolutely matters because if you're not taking action to get to your goals, it's kind of just going back to, manifestation is woo woo because people are thinking they have to sit around and think positive thoughts all day and things are just going to flow to them easily. And while that is true to an extent, you have to take the steps needed to put it together. So I help you create an action plan that gets you to your goal in a certain amount of time, doing a certain amount of steps. We get very specific and granular. And this is where people start to really see results. That is why I actually incorporate something after we get through the psychological phase called a synchronicity tracker. So, the synchronicity tracker is there to help maintain your faith in manifestation and help you notice all of the little blessings that the universe is sending you along the way. So you will absolutely start to see results from the moment you decide to shift your thoughts. Like I tell my clients to play the show me game, right? So it's like if I am on the right track or I am getting closer to becoming a millionaire, whatever it is, show me four butterflies tomorrow or show me, a dog running across the street, something along that nature, right? And when they see these things, it feels so magical. They're like, wow, I am really doing something crazy here. Like, this is unexplainable. So they have that synchronicity tracker to go back and refer to it to show them all of the little steps that they're taking. You're getting signs, you're getting messages, right? I've had some clients go from only making 3K a month to 10K in the first 3 weeks of working with me. And I've had others that they don't see any specific movement or signs, I should say, until we get closer to the end and they're doing the action steps and then things start rolling. It's all about your perception, how easy you're willing to notice these things, and how quickly you can change your thoughts and fully believe. That's really what it comes down to. So it is different for everybody, but the signs and the synchronicities will always be there when you start making the changes.
That makes sense to me. Okay. So, how does this relate to wellness? Of course, financial, money,
Of course.
but it feels like it can definitely relate to overall wellness. So, what can you speak on for that?
Yes, and this one's fun for me because I have actually had a autoimmune condition for quite a while now, and with the power of manifestation and of course, talk to your doctor, I have been able to fully I don't wanna say cure, but I've been able to heal myself in ways that you would not believe. I use homeopathic medicine and everything, but I really do believe it is because the way that I'm able to control my thoughts and feelings around my condition. And I work with some clients that have seen miraculous results. I had a client who was in remission from breast cancer and it came back as brain cancer and it was stage 3 and they were telling her there's not much they can do. It's already in the end phases. And she was able to put herself in remission from that brain cancer. Of course, taking other necessary steps with her own choice of medications. But again, your brain is so powerful when it comes to your health. You can control what is going on in your body as long as you find that balance and that power of belief. So I really think, especially when it comes to wellness, that manifestation can be an incredible tool.
I mean, have you ever been around a child and you're like, your spirit is so much bigger than your little body,
Hmm.
or even people? But I think as we become adults, we tend to suppress it. So we don't really see it as bigger than us, but it is. And when we take inspired action, it helps that spirit side of us grow. And we receive the inspiration to do these things. And I think she was also receiving that. I wonder and if visualization is in this at all.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's a really big part, whatever phase you're in manifestation. But I think it goes back to what you're saying more of like her spirit, her higher self, something. And everybody has their name for it, whether it's the universe, God, your higher self, something external from you that's able to give you the downloads and these weird feelings that this is what you need to do to see the results you want to see. Even speaking with her and asking her, like, how did she do this? And she's like, I just had a knowing. I just knew. And I was like, that's great. It's unexplainable, but it definitely comes from somewhere.
Well, and I think that we can do it in small ways. Like this morning, things were not going my way this morning. I missed my yoga chance because the bus was late and it was getting the kids out the door to the bus and then turn around do yoga before I take the little one to preschool. And all of this happened, finally get the salt off my car because it's right in between snowstorms and everything. And I even said it to the preschool teacher, I bet you the car wash is closed. Like just my luck today.
Oh no.
Like, I made that happen, you know?
Hmm.
And
Kind
I'm
of.
just like, when I showed up and it was, I'm like, I had that
I
feeling
knew
as
it.
soon as it left my mouth that I did it to myself. And I was like, fine, I'll go to a different one tomorrow.
Hmm.
But it was
Yeah.
just like, wow, I totally had that as I pulled it. I'm like, I did that.
Mhm.
That was
And
me.
yeah, it does, it happens, it's momentum, so and that's actually something else I always encourage people to do first thing in the morning, to set the expectation of your day. Like, before I'm even awake, like, my eyes are closed, I still have my sleep mask on, I'm like, "Today is gonna be a great day. Amazing things are coming my way," set the expectation before you get up and you stub your toe and you're like, "You know what? This is not it."
And I still felt, even though this morning was frazzling, I
Yeah.
didn't feel frazzled on the surface, but not the deep because I did meditation.
Oh, there you
And
go.
I did a new one that was on visualization. So I'm like, okay, at least it's like surface level. Once the kids are gone, it will be very easy to flip that switch and be like, okay, feel calm and peaceful again, especially because I only get everyone out of the house 2 days a week because the little one's still in preschool. Even, yes, the huge level, brain
Mhm.
cancer, yes.
Yeah.
But there's all the little things along the way that lead up to that, which is totally what your program, what you're talking about,
Yeah.
is how are we going to get these big things that we're striving for, that we truly desire, that are good for us, if
Mhm.
we can't do the small things?
Mhm.
Okay, so tell me about how this works with happiness, because we are very much in a society where we are striving for happiness, but it feels like this just out of reach thing. And we are willing to get rid of everything, kind of that piggy bank, turn upside down and empty everything out and turn everything topsy turvy, trying to find happiness. And sometimes we are so driven for that that we steamroll others along the way. So I'm asking a lot here. I know this. But
Mhm.
what is your version of happiness and how does this look in a holistic mindfulness manifestation approach?
Yeah, and I love how you explain that, right? We're all like chasing happiness, right? It's gotten to a point that society has pretty much programmed us that happiness is something that is outside of you, right? Happiness only comes when you are doing the things required to be happy, whether that's achieving your goals, finding your soulmate, or whatever it is, right? From my understanding, and also like I mentioned before, I've spoken with a lot of neuroscientists, and happiness is quite literally a chemical in your brain. So if you are able to be in the present moment, and you can do that by meditation, you can do that by tapping, you can do that by breath work, simple, very simple things. Be in the present moment, even if you're not feeling it, right? Close your eyes and I want you to smile. And I want you to smile for 17 seconds. It takes 17 seconds for you to create positive momentum and to get yourself in a happy state. I don't care if you've been crying for 3 hours. I don't care if you are depressed out of your mind. If you do some type of breath work, close your eyes and sit and smile and think of some image in your head that gives you a good feeling, you will be in a state of happiness. And it's literally doing that at least once a day that can help you start to realize you are literally programming your subconscious mind that you are happy no matter what. You are convincing yourself of that. And at first it will feel silly, it will feel stupid. You'll be like, this is not working. I don't know why I'm doing this. But do it every day for a week and it'll change your life. You're going to
I
create a
love it.
new chemical in your brain to be addicted to instead of being addicted to stress and addicted to sadness and anxiety.
I love that. And I wonder if it's kind of like love. When you think of love in the English language, is love. One word.
Mhm.
Means that it stands for all the different types of love. Where if you look at it in other languages, especially Latin based, that's about all I know. But there are several different types of love. And maybe happiness should be thought of the same way, where there are different types of happiness and so many of us are looking for that euphoric happiness and wanting to stay there when that sense of euphoria doesn't last very long.
Yeah.
So we're striving for that. And I really like your version of happiness because it invokes feelings of peace. And I really love when I feel grounded. Every meditation practice I do, mindfulness practice on my podcast when I do my solo episodes, has grounding and breath work because those are my two like tried and true, always works things. And for me, that's more the happiness that I strive for as a mom because
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
a lot
me
more
too.
fleeting. The kids tend to steal it, it feels like. And it's like, yeah, okay, just breathe, take a minute before I answer them for the 50th time for the same question.
Yeah.
So that type of thing. So I
Yeah.
really like that idea. And then there's one that's been resonated with me for the past several years. The pursuit of a goal brings happiness. It's not actually achieving that goal because once you achieve that, you're like, okay, what's next? But the
Exactly.
pursuit of it can bring you happiness and the
Yeah.
joy and the stretching and the growing. And yes, it's kind of that mixed ball because it's not just happiness because stretching and growing isn't always fun. But I love that the pursuit of it can bring you happiness, and you should find happiness along the way. Otherwise, you're just achieving, 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 going, going, going. And then when you finish this thing called life, what have you achieved? And what you really should be striving to achieve is the happiness that you can share with others, is my own soapbox opinion.
Yeah. I just try to express unconditional happiness, right? And that's something that you usually find, like you said, when you're going through the journey, you're not only falling in love with what you're doing, but you're falling in love with yourself, right? And that makes you happy. You're like, wow, look what I'm accomplishing. I'm still pushing. I've been through X, Y, and Z, and I'm still on my way. And, that's the little things that give you that euphoric happiness.
And I think it keeps you from judging others. So kids can listen because I hate when I'm listening to podcasts that I really love and some F bombs come in and I'm like, no, children
Yeah.
ignore that. But anyway, there's just so much to be said about when you are truly happy and you're working on your own stuff that it's easier to spread the happiness. That is what I found through my own life, through seeing others, coaching others, but even just experiencing being with others. And those are the people that are the attractors. They're attracting you
Yep.
because you want to be better. They're the ones that are giving you kind of like if you think of a candle, they're lighting the other candle and then you can share it with others, but they're giving you that light and they're showing you that it's possible and you don't have to shield it and not share it with other people. Because I don't know about you, but as I've been working on myself, when I'm around people who are negative, it drains me faster and I'm gonna go this way now. I'm gonna
Hmm.
avoid you.
Yeah.
Unless I'm in a coaching capacity, of course I'll work with you. But if it's like in a personal, I have my kids with me,
Yeah.
unless we're complaining to find the solution, which
Yes.
I feel like that is separate. So I love the ideas of happiness and how it goes with manifesting and how when we are working on our dreams and really digging deep into what is our deep, deep desire dream, not our surface level, we think we should be doing because other people are doing type of thing. And it
Mhm.
sounds like you were saying that your questionnaire when you start is 50 questions long. And it sounds like it's to really get into like what is the bottom of this iceberg that we can really dig into. So, what are some of the sample questions that would be on your questionnaire?
Yeah, so I go all the way back, right? Because when we are alive from the ages of birth to 8, we are at our most susceptible to be programmed with our parents' beliefs, our environment. That's usually when we're exposed to all the crazy things of the world and it affects us the most. And that's where a lot of people pick up their trauma that sticks with them until they're much in their adult years, all the way to 30 and 40 and so on until they find me. So I go back and ask you questions about your childhood. I ask you questions about your parents, whether like your guardians, whatever that is. See what you remember, right? Because sometimes the subconscious mind will suppress things to protect us. But I really want to be able to pull that out because there is always some type of belief from either early childhood or early adulthood that is affecting what you want. So going back and being able to target that and seeing how we can shift it into something that's more favorable is really one of the most beneficial parts of that process.
And it made me think about when I was in therapy a couple years ago that we got to a point where it's like like all of me wants to shut down because I'm worried that it's going to become this Pandora's box, discovering some of the abuse that was in my past
Yeah.
and that there's no putting that back in.
Yeah, that's what
And
people say. Yeah.
yeah, we hit that plateau for a couple months and it's like, okay, I think I'm ready to like poke it, like, but just from the sides.
Hmm.
I don't want that top
Yeah.
to come out all the
Yeah.
way off.
Yeah.
And that totally makes sense. And there's people who I've talked to and coached who are, well,
Yeah.
so it makes sense that you're wanting to go back. What is that subconscious thing? What is that thing that you keep every time you get there, you have to dance around it?
Mhm.
And okay, well, that's just gonna be an obstacle, so I'll just work on this over here type of thing. So I love that you are really helping them to put in the work to dig forward.
Yeah, and it can be challenging. A lot of people, like you said, are like, "I don't wanna go there. I don't wanna know what's in there. Let's leave it locked. It's fine." I'm like, if you wanna be a millionaire, you're gonna have to break through that." But that's why I call the phase the discomfort zone, right? My job is to really get you to take it head on and be ready for whatever discomfort and changes you're gonna have to push through because in the end, it's 100% worth it.
So you're really wanting somebody who is ready to be done with their BS and really overcome the things that they've already been trying to do on their own.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to be ready though. Most people come to me because they just want to manifest things. And then they find out, like, oh, wow, this is serious. But, they hate me for like the first 2 weeks. But in the end, they're like, okay, that was amazing because now these great things are coming into my life.
So they go from hating you to referring you.
It happens. But, it's uncomfortable. It's crazy. It's insane. It's unexplainable. But when you get through it, that is why I have the success and the reviews that I have because my work is like something you've never experienced.
That's fun to be able to say.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to watch.
That is one thing that I love about coaching, and one thing that is a total bonus that I get healed while I'm
Yeah.
helping them.
Mhm. I
I'll
love it.
I'll take it, but that's
Yep.
not why I'm doing it.
A win-win for everybody, it really is.
So, what is another success story that you'd love to share?
Yeah, so this one is more on the relationship side, but I just worked with a woman who is a small business owner in Miami. She does real estate investment, and she was actually looking to find her soulmate. She's a little bit older, and she had actually never been in a serious relationship. She said she's had like a boyfriend or two, but nothing to where she's ever told anybody she loved them or anything. And of course, like anybody in manifestation, she felt like she was on a time crunch. She came to me and she's like, I need this to happen in the next couple of months, or I'm just determined to be single forever. And that's not how manifestation works. The universe works in divine timing. Whenever it is time for you to receive something, you will. And you can't ever control that. You can't force that with manifestation. So we went through the process and we were about 3 weeks into her doing her custom manifestations. And she had gotten to a point where she's like, I am just so in love with myself. She's like, I've always been okay with who I am. She's like, but now I feel a true resonance as if I am in a relationship with myself. And it's great. I'm falling in love. I'm just enjoying every minute. And there was this glow about her at this point. Like there was just this natural glow. And it wasn't like she was giving up on finding a relationship. It was more along the lines of she was open to receiving whatever is meant for her. And if it comes, it comes. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. That's fine. But she continued to do the work. And I didn't hear from her because we usually have weekly one-on-ones. I didn't hear from her a little over a week. So I reached out and I was like, "Is everything okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I got in a car accident, but the guy that hit me was the most handsome man I ever seen." She's like, "It wasn't anything serious, but he asked me on a date." And she's like, "This is absolutely amazing." And I was like, "Oh," I was so excited. I was like, "I hope this is the one for you." But I told her, "Don't stop doing the work. Continue to do the work. You're on this high vibrational plane. You're in the vortex. Just keep it going." And by the time we got to the end of her action plan, she was engaged. And I'm a hopeless romantic. So seeing this happen like before my eyes, it was just so inspiring. It's one of my biggest success stories right now. And I just can't express it enough how the universe works in strange ways.
Well, you're glowing just talking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, here's my question. She has the blueprint from this. Is she able to take that and apply it to other parts in her life pretty easily? Or is that something where if it's deeper, she'll need to come back to you for? How does this work?
Yes, that's a great question. So, the way that I structure it is it's pretty much giving you the toolbox to create anything you want in your life. Once you have the strategies and the tools, you can shift very little things to create other things. So, let's say, for example, she was working on love, she got her soulmate, now she wants to go back to working on her business. It's going to be the same framework. So, it's something that's very versatile and something you can use for just about anything. I have clients that do come back just because they like how I hold them accountable and the hand holding, it's always better when someone's like, "You need to do your work," right? But, again, it's something where you learn it and you have those tools. It's like riding a bike. You will never forget it.
Well, one of my clients today was telling me, "I need you to set a deadline for me," 'cause she has ADHD. She's like, "My ADHD brain needs a deadline."
Yeah.
Okay, so this. "Okay, but I need a punishment if I don't do that." I'm like, "Okay, fine,
Oh, I
you'll owe
love
me this." And she's like, "Okay, I accept." Like, there was that, "Yep, this will work,"
Yeah.
moment, like, click.
I mean, I love it myself. I love being held accountable. So it really just comes down to the person.
Yeah. I'm really good at holding myself accountable, so it was really interesting for her to be like, "I need it to be this. I need it to be more like this." "Okay, how's this?" "Yep, I accept."
That's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Is there anything else that you want to leave us with as we end tonight?
I just want to remind everybody that you can only create what you believe is possible. So shift your beliefs and you can change your whole life.
Okay. Mic drop. That was perfect. Thank you so much for being on, and thank you to your listeners. If you know of anybody who is struggling with the same thing over and over again and they can't seem to get past it, or they have this big dream that they keep putting on hold, Bianca is the person for you. So please reach out. All of her contact information will be in the show notes. So don't worry. Perfect. Thank you so much for listening. Please share this with other people, and we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. I am your host, Autumn Carter, a certified life coach dedicated to empowering individuals to rediscover their identity, find balance amidst chaos, strengthen relationships, and pursue their dreams. My goal is to help people thrive in every aspect of their lives. I hope today's discussion inspired you and offered valuable insights. Stay engaged with our wellness community by signing up for my newsletter at wellnessinEverySeason.com/free resources. When you join, you'll have the option to receive a 5-day guide called Awaken and Unwind. 5 days to mastering your mornings and evenings, along with free guides, special offers on my programs, practical tips, personal stories, and much more, all related to wellness, by signing up for both offers on the page. Don't miss out on these valuable resources designed to help you thrive in every area of wellness. Join today and start your journey to wellness in every season. Your shares, subscriptions, and reviews help us reach more people seeking empowerment. So please spread the word about our podcast and about our newsletter. Thank you for being a part of our podcast community. I look forward to continuing our conversation, sharing stories, and exploring wellness in all of its aspects. Take care until our next episode. You can also work with me one-on-one or on demand through one of my programs by visiting wellnessinEverySeason.com/programs. One last thing to cover the show legally, I am a certified life coach giving general advice. So think of this more as a self-help book. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a licensed therapist, so this podcast shouldn't be taken as a replacement for professional guidance from a doctor or therapist. If you want personal one-on-one coaching from a certified life and parenting coach, go to my website, wellnessinEverySeason.com. That's where you can get personalized coaching from me for you. See you in next week's episode.